Hello and welcome to this week's special presentation. My name is Patrick France, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest, and I will be your presenter for this week. 2020 led to an explosion of growth of new investors into the market, which we've seen that trend continue throughout 2021. One of the biggest struggles for new investors is understanding their investment temperament. They tend to jump right into the market without understanding how much risk they want to assume, and they end up getting into stocks that are either moving too slow for what they're looking for, or if they're long-term oriented, they tend to get into more volatile stocks, which tend not to line up with their goals. Luckily, here at VectorVest, we have the Strategic Investment Matrix, which helps you identify exactly what types of stocks match your specific investment temperament. So today, we're going to walk through the investment matrix and make sure we have a clear understanding of how to utilize it, and then also show you how easy it can be to find the right stocks for you. So let's get into the software. As always, once you sign into the software, we always start off right here on the home page. Now, to find the investment matrix once you log in, simply click on the Views tab at the top, and then over on the left-hand side of the views, we have the Views Manager. In the Views Manager, you can select different views, SA Viewer, Strategy of the Week, Market Calls Viewer, and today we're going to be focusing on the last one, Special Reports. The Special Reports is a goldmine of information that can help you develop more sound, systematic approaches and help you understand the markets better as well. If we scroll down a little bit, we come to the Strategic Investment Matrix, which I'll simply click on, and then expand this box to go over it together. And starting off with the introduction, every investor needs to define a realistic set of goals, the amount of risk they can handle, and a feasible investment plan. The VectorVest system of stock analysis identifies 4 basic investment styles: prudent, aggressive, conservative, and speculative. And here we're going to help you identify which style suits you the best. So if we scroll down to take a look at the matrix, as we can see, it is a square identifying reward and risk. I'm sure by this point you're probably familiar with the risk to reward profile of any stock and hear those terms thrown around all the time. Well, here at VectorVest, we want to simplify that and show you exactly how to understand a risk to reward and what it means for a stock and how to find the stocks that match your risk to reward profile. So as we stated before, we have the 4 main categories of investing: the prudent category, aggressive, conservative, and speculative. When VectorVest analyzes any stock, we use 2 proprietary indicators to focus on the financials or fundamentals of the stock. The first one is the relative safety, or RS. The relative safety is simply an indicator of risk. It takes into account things such as debt to equity ratio, sales volume, and business longevity. The other indicator we look at is relative value, or RV. This looks at the long-term potential of a stock and is computed from an analysis of projected price appreciation 3 years out, AAA corporate bonds, and risk. Another way of looking at this is relative value is a great way to identify the reward factor in a stock over the next 1 to 3 years, and relative safety is a great way to systematically identify the amount of risk involved with those stocks. So when you put these 2 indicators together, you can get a better sense of what types of stocks you're actually looking for. Now let's talk about each of these investment styles. The first we want to talk about is a speculative trader or investor. They're typically an investor that doesn't look at fundamentals and is purely a hype or momentum trader, somebody who's looking to jump on the hottest stock at any given time, and are typically the type of person who goes off of buy the rumor more so than anything else. They have little care about the fundamentals of the stock, and they are more focused on the next hot stock. So, therefore, they're willing to accept a high amount of risk, which would mean the relative safety is below 1. And also because they don't take into account the fundamentals, they tend to have a low potential reward as well, because once again, they're trading off the news or whatever the talking heads on TV label as the next hot stock. The next style of investor is a conservative investor. They're somebody looking for long-term buy and hold type of situations. Therefore, they want to reduce their risk as much as possible, putting an emphasis primarily on the relative safety and making sure it's above 1 and as high as possible. One of the drawbacks to this, however, is that they also tend to have a low reward, where their goal is not to outperform the market, it is more in line with trying to preserve their capital. Therefore, they could be trying to look for a dividend to supplement their income and tend to avoid more volatile or risky plays. So, their primary focus is on relative safety and little focus on relative value or relative value below 1. The third style of investing is an aggressive investor, somebody looking to make at least 20% a year or higher, and they're willing to accept a lot of risk involved with the stock, so therefore a relative safety below the level of 1, because their primary focus is the growth potential in the stock. So therefore, this is somebody who's more of a swing trader or tends to identify as a growth investor. And finally, the last style of investing that VectorVest tends to favor is the prudent investor. Most places out there tell you you can't have a high reward without increasing your risk. Well, VectorVest is here to show you that that is not exactly true. Utilizing the VectorVest indicators, you can identify stocks that have lower risk or a higher relative safety and also come with that great reward potential or high relative value. Now that you have a better understanding of the 4 styles of investing and have had time to think about which style of investing matches best with your personal temperament, let me show you how easy it is to find the stocks that you're most interested in. The VectorVest Unisearch tool is a great way to scan for different stocks by either using one of the scans that we have already pre-built or by building your own. If we scroll down by the different folders, the first one we come to is Search as Aggressive. So as we stated, aggressive searches are looking for great upside potential, but below or average safety. So therefore, high reward, but also higher risk. And as you can see, we have a search here titled Aggressive Stocks. If we go ahead and run it by double clicking on it, it'll instantly bring back the best stocks that meet the criteria we're looking for as an aggressive investor. And utilizing our master indicator, VST, standing for value, safety, and timing, to bring the best candidates to the top of the list and the worst to the bottom. And I think we can all agree that if we're going to be buying a stock, we tend to want to buy the best of the best. So therefore, VectorVest automatically does that by bringing the best candidates to look at right to the top for you. And to take a look at the graph of a few of these, we can simply click on the Graph All button in the upper right-hand corner. And now that we've got the graph pulled up, we can see the price is shown in candlesticks. We have a 40-day simple moving average, and also the RT or relative timing at the bottom. Now remember I stated, for aggressive stocks, you're looking for growth plays or momentum plays. And as we can see here, the first one that comes to the list has been exploding over the last few days. If we move down to the next one, VRTV, another one. You can have some great explosive moves to the upside. Also, relative timing, or the RT, which shows the short-term price trend of the stock, is staying at elevated levels, showing great momentum to the upside currently. ZIM. And why we go through these as well, just as a side note, if you're more of an aggressive investor, typically you use technical analysis to help time your entries and exits, and this would be an appropriate type of situation or an appropriate style for that type of investor. And now if we get out of here, another honorable mention from the aggressive folder would be bottle rockets. This one is a little bit different, and it sorts by RT descending, so looking for strong momentum plays. And it's also putting an emphasis on the forecasted earnings growth rate of the stock being greater than or equal to 25% per year. Also, a high relative timing, a strong RV, and the basic parameters of being greater than $1 with 100,000 average volume, no contra ETFs, and making sure it's on a major exchange. The next category we want to highlight is the search as conservative, where you have conservative stocks first and foremost. As you can see here, it's being sorted by dividend safety in descending order to bring the highest dividend safety stocks to the top of the list that also meet these criteria. So therefore, relative value is less than 1, as we mentioned before when we looked at the matrix. Relative safety greater than 1. And then the other basic parameters we typically see with any other search. If we go ahead and graph some of these, and go ahead and add on earnings per share, because as a conservative stock, making sure the stock is making money is key for a long-term investment. So as we can see with this stock, it has been moving sideways slightly higher over the last year, but as we know, with this sort of dividend safety, you're also getting a dividend through the same time while holding this stock. Moving on to the next one, EA, same situation. Progressive, so insurance, RMD, tech, RDN, and these stocks, while they're not necessarily outperforming the market, they are paying a dividend to help supplement that additional income. Getting out of here, the honorable mention for the conservative plays would come from either steady eddies or prima donnas. Either one is a great potential for a conservative investor. As we move to the next folder, search as prudent, we have prudent stocks down here at the bottom. And here we can see the RV and RS both have to be greater than 1, and it's using VST in descending order to bring the highest VST stocks that meet the prudent category right to the top. If we go graph some of these, you'll see some popular names that have been making the headlines as of late. For example, we have Moderna, which has a great bottom left to upper right pattern and price. Also, earnings are steadily rising as well. TX, another great looking chart. BLDR, ACH, KLIC, and Novax. Honorable mentions coming from the prudent folder would come from ruler stocks, superstars, or even sure bets. All three of those other prudent searches are phenomenal opportunities to find some great prudent stocks. And then we'll get out of here and take a look at our last folder, search as speculative. And here we can find the speculative stock search. Go ahead and run it. And as we can see, once again, it's using VST as the master sort and looking for stocks with an RV and an RS lower than 1. And everything else is pretty standard. So if we go graph these and then take off earnings per share and zoom in, because as a speculative investor, you're looking for shorter time frames or quicker moves. So here we have MTL, which gapped up just a few days ago and had a great day trade opportunity, which is typically going to be in the wheelhouse of a speculative trader. Moving on to the next, LC. We've had a pretty big run up after it gapped up back here at the end of July. GDYN, another big mover, which over the last 3 months has almost doubled in price. UPST, a great runner. It's gone from about $150 a share all the way up to almost $300 as of today. And you can find countless opportunities that can easily make you money no matter what your investment style is, and VectorVest can help you find those quickly and easily to help reduce the amount of time it takes to manage your portfolio. So therefore, we do all the work and you get to reap the profits. We get out of here. Honorable mentions from the speculative folder would come from Mini Rockets Long or El Cheapos Cheapos. Now at this point, you should definitely have a better understanding of how easy it is to identify your actual investment temperament, which should give you the ability to strengthen your trading plan and ensure that the stocks you're getting into align with your overall trading goals. As always, if you have any questions regarding anything that we've covered here tonight, never hesitate to give our support a call. So until next time, take care and have a great weekend.